Hello, hello, mis cielitos, and welcome back. Coco is here, and I am continuing Raging Loop. Last we left off, we had voted to hang the old man who cried wolf, and during the night, we had the option to either slay Yudai, who has been proven to be quite the thorn in our side, or... Oh, hello, Xerox. Welcome to the stream. Thank you for coming. Or the snake. I chose Yudai since I figured that's part of it is just going down the list, but I also feel that's probably the path that will screw us over. Since, Snake is a very vital role. It is one of the few ones that can absolutely give us definitive answers. And it would also just be a little strange to me that after being completely absent for 2 routes, they would get rid of him early on. But we shall see, perhaps I am wrong. It bugged me, but I returned to the prefab, took off the outfit, and got changed. I'd learned yesterday that it was best to wear the costume with little clothing, so it was a simple task. The blood-stained wolf outfit would be gone come morning. I laid down, and slumber soon took me away. The next morning, as I expected, the outfit had vanished. As I expected, there was a big fuss over Hashimoto-san's body. But what I didn't expect was that Takumi-san would beat the crap out of me first thing in the morning. This bastard's a wolf! Takumi Muro was the snake. Since he knew I was part of the gang that killed Hashimoto-san, he didn't hesitate to use full force on me. And the feast was over in a flash. Everyone voted to lynch me. I wasn't even allowed to vote on account of my face and throat being all smashed. So I did mean everyone. Given the situation, Haru-chan and Kaori-san didn't waste any votes on trying to save me, naturally. Hello, PCU. Welcome to the stream. Thank you for coming. I'm doing well, and I hope you all are doing good too. What was all that thinking for yesterday? Takumi-san really was the snake. He really did suspect me, and everyone really did trust him once he got the chance to show off his strength. I was embarrassed that I'd tried to act like a good guy. But next time, I would get Takumi-san for sure. Oh, the mist was... Nah. Gotta be... Honestly, well, I felt strongly that was the bad end route. Did not expect it to come quite that quickly. Personally, I found Hashimoto-san to be the biggest threat. I didn't see any openings or weaknesses on him. However, I knew full well just how influential Takumi-san was. Though he sometimes lacked confidence, once he found some, he could kill off the wolves through his initiative and popularity alone. Then there was the fact that he might be the snake, I really couldn't ignore him. The only thing I'm wondering about is the spider. Like, we'll see. We'll kill Takumi-san. Very well, but... Yes, we'll go for Yasunaga-kun tomorrow night. About that, though. Haru-chan. What? Yasunaga-kun will probably be in a state of shock again tomorrow, so you do your best to console him. We need to prevent him from declaring that Takumi-san told him he was a snake. And, oh right, okay, so it hasn't been revealed yet. In this path. Has it? No, it has. Prevent him from declaring that Takumi-san told him he was a snake, and that he confirmed that Yasunaga-kun was a human. With Takumi-san dead, most would find his words trustworthy. Pretending to be the snake would become really difficult then. Understand?
I do, but how do I even do that? Honestly, I don't think I can pull something like that off.
Well... I'll do it. I just have to make sure Yasunaga doesn't talk about that. In or outside the feast, right? Yes, okay, so... He didn't feel compelled to say anything since... He wasn't put sort of on pressure. Yes, basically. Can you do that? I'm his mother. No one would suspect us if we have a talk as family. There's also the fact that, well, Takumi-san isn't a stranger to me. And if he tells me that Takumi-san is the snake, I will tell him that I suspect. Hanzo-san. I'd possibly say that he killed the snake because he was afraid of being investigated. It's possible that Kanzo-san realized what Takumi-san was, right? Yes. Now that you mention it, he acted weird in front of everyone there. Exactly. I'll also tell him to keep quiet about it because he could be next. I might have severely underestimated her. I'd assumed she was a timid person without much of her own opinion on anything. But oh, was I wrong? I didn't know whether she was holding back or just using her imagination and proactiveness in a negative way. But she was really dependable in a situation like this. Please avoid saying things only wolves can know, or claim that Takumi-san is the snake before he does. It won't be good for us if Yasunaga-kun starts to suspect you. Oh, but suspicion is no problem. You'll die tomorrow night, after all. I had to hold back from cursing at her. A mother was intending to kill her own child, and it made me feel unpleasant. That was the right thing to feel, wasn't it?
Then I won't have to do anything, right?
Yeah, for now. Her sudden grin was so out of nowhere, I had no idea what to make of it. Neither did Kaori-san. Takumi-san's place was close to the plaza. There was nothing out of the ordinary around it. That meant this would be our first real murder. Our first kill as wolves. Was I really gonna do this? Would the door really open? Would I really open it and carry out the deed? More nervous than I appeared, I put my hand on the door. Click. I felt it unlock. Seriously? Let me check something.
Huh? Hey!
I ran around, checking several houses. The detached dwelling where Yoshitsugu lived, Meiko's place, Hanzo-san's place, Rikako-san's place. All of them were locked. Apparently, you can only unlock the first door you touch. It's best not to touch the knobs without thinking. I see.
So we've got no choice but to kill Takumi.
Exactly. I'm opening it. This would be my first time here since I had investigated his corpse during the first loop. It was a simple room. There was a futon in the middle, and his large body was right there. He was sleeping. Defenseless. He wouldn't wake up, right?
Hey, how will we kill him?
Actually, I was curious if we were going to be provided some means of killing. The murders I'd known of so far had been outside the norm. They weren't something beyond human ability. But I also thought that they'd been a bit excessive, assuming their sole purpose was murder. I still didn't know if there was something that compelled them to do that. But apparently, you had to come up with your own method of murder. Let's use something here. Thankfully, we had a lot of options. There were various old farming tools nearby. The edged ones, sickle, hoe, etc., looked extremely fitting for the purpose. There was even an axe. It would make it really easy. An axe could destroy a human body in no time. I'll ask just in case. Either of you want to do it? All right, I'll do it. I raised the axe overhead and hesitated. This memory, the fact that I committed murder, would probably stay with me even if I looped. I'd keep this moment, this feeling, until the day I died. That was hardly a problem. Okay, sure. Okay, Haruaki. My aim was true, and the axe sunk into Takumi-san's neck. Blood burst out of the wound, then started bubbling out ceaselessly. That was definitely lethal. However, the blade wasn't too wide or large. This wasn't a broad axe or anything. Thus, I swung it down again. And again. And again. His head left his body before the 10th swing. I took his head in hand. His eyes were open wide. His expression was full of anguish. At this point, I wasn't sure if he'd been completely unconscious. I nonchalantly showed it to the two behind me. Applause. They actually applauded me.
Well done. Good job.
Pure joy and words of praise. My earlier sense of disgust returned. Why? Why did these people suddenly cease having a conscience the moment they became wolves? This was wrong. They were supposed to show disgust. They needed to. If they didn't, to whose standard was I supposed to adjust my conscience, sense of right and wrong, and good and evil? Huh. Okay. That's a fascinating dilemma. I tossed the head on the floor. I then held it in place with my foot. Cut it with the axe over and over. struck it over and over. Hello, Bellhound. Welcome to the stream. Thank you for coming. What a fantastic spot to enter the stream on. It was almost completely unrecognizable now. I kicked away the damaged skull, still covered in flesh and hair in places. It was heavy, so my leg hurt, and it left a pool of blood where it rolled. Before even looking at it, I took a random farming tool and thrust it into his torso. I took another tool and sank it into his shoulder. I opened his stomach. I cut up his limbs.
That's enough. Stop.
By the time someone stopped me, the corpse was in such a state that you'd think the corruption was responsible for it. You didn't have to go this far, did you? Not even those words were out of disgust or guilt. They simply thought it was a waste of time. Let's go. Still pissed, I went to the exit, not even looking back at them.
You need to cleanse.
I felt some water hit my back, but I was too pissed to even react before leaving. I took off the bloody wolf outfit and just threw it on the floor. I'd learned yesterday that it was best to wear the costume without any upper clothing, so I was able to relax just after wiping off the sweat and changing my underwear. The room began to reek of blood. The great Lord Shania would probably clean all this up anyway. Shit. I was pissed. Even though I knew they'd lose their sense of guilt, I was still pissed. Shit. I just wanted to sleep. But I couldn't really do that with someone knocking on my door. Who could it be? Kaori-san? Haru-chan? Shinai himself? It was still late at night, so it couldn't be anyone else from the village. Police-san? That'd be a laugh. I ignored it, though. I was too pissed. More knocking. More ignoring.
My, oh my. You certainly are easily offended, city dweller.
Now that I couldn't ignore. I jumped up and leapt to the door so quickly I almost tripped. This was the mystery surrounding Haru-chan. The brutalization had distracted me from my primary goal here. I hadn't expected her to come to me. Upon opening the door, I saw something I really didn't expect. This was...
The wolves cometh to the smell of Yomi. Cleanse, shelter, and dream. Daughter of Fushiyoshi.
That was Haru-chan? Now that I got a better look, the physique, hairdo, and even the voice were similar. But why would she wear that? No, forget that. How did she make it all the way here without her wolf outfit?
No need to be surprised. These are my kin. Consider them an extension of me.
Behind her, I felt the beasts, closer than at any point today or yesterday. No, I could actually see them. Countless eyes glowed in the darkness nearby. She gently extended her hand. A few of them looked at her, and a few even came close. The weak light from outside the prefab lit them up. Dogs. They really were dogs. Some were white, some brown. Some had long ears. Some didn't have a tail. It was a pack of countless feral-looking mid-sized dogs. All of them had blood and filth on them, as well as severe wounds here and there. Their clenched teeth, furrowed noses, and widened eyes spoke volumes of the rage, and perhaps even hatred within them. The girl clad in aged cloth didn't seem to care, standing still even as they surrounded her. Not only that, but she reached out to pet one of them. Are you one of the 3 gods?
Oh yes. Apologies if that did not seem obvious before. As you can see, I'm a lonely, powerless god who cannot do much beyond playing with beasts.
Please, come in.
My, oh my. Do you not think it dangerous to invite a god to your home? What if I were to spirit you away?
Sorry, but I don't understand your rules.
Reasonable. You city dwellers worship a god called Science, do you not?
Science isn't a god.
Oh, it is. You did not know? Oh, but wait. You do not believe in anything, do you? I truly, sincerely apologize.
Okay, this really was... Should I step outside?
No need for that. You cannot leave that place without that filthy costume on to all these children. The edge of a territory is a boundary, and talks between men and gods can be had through them.
I see. Okay then. What are you?
I've already answered that, have I not?
A god. A powerless god. That's not enough. The legends don't say anything about... Wait. The badger. For the first time, she simply nodded instead of saying it. It made me uneasy. Do you hate that name?
Not at all. It is not wrong in the least.
It is a fitting name for someone wearing the marks of Great Lord Shania and acting as a leader of these mutts. You used to be a different god, right?
This might not sit well with some of you, but legends and myths can change, not just through borrowing aspects from other legends and myths, but also through political events. There was a time when myths and government were closely tied, so myths had to change whenever the politics did. If settlements merged, their gods would marry, while gods of places annexed through war would become the conqueror's god's servants or demons. Or maybe they'd merge separate gods into one. The people shaped them according to the power balances of their day. That's why powerful gods and devils have many other names, forms, and incarnations. These are remnants of long-forgotten faiths. The legends and myths that live to this day survived through countless such changes. Of course they would have contradictions. A forgotten god. A mountain god besides Great Lord Shania. With the creation of the Shania faith, he was woven into it as his servant, and left mostly forgotten. That was the entity possessing her. Well, that's what I am, but I did not come here to speak of myself. Personally, I had a whole ton of questions, but since I didn't want to make her upset, I let her take the lead.
What do you want to know?
Why the rampage?
I'm pausing because I'm trying to figure out how to phrase all this. But we've had a lot of comments from Haruaki talking about how he's a terrible person, how he's a scumbag, and that line that he said where, how was he supposed to know how to act or right and wrong if their own moral code was so misshaping and nebulous? You know, that's pretty much what he was saying, or at least that's how I interpreted it. And that's I'm very fixated on that because it very much felt like his rampage was out of that frustration that he felt like he was losing, and not so much a sense of identity, but like the safety net of, since he himself maybe doesn't really have a moral compass, he just sort of follows the lead of other people. You don't know?
I understand that you're upset with this girl, but I cannot read any other color you display. If you did not want to kill, you could have stopped after the first hack. And if they did not deem it sufficient, you could have handed them the tool. Yet you joyously cut the large man up into pieces.
I need those two to stay normal. I can't be normal unless I'm surrounded by normal people. As a person, I lack any kind of real foundation, so I lose myself without some source of normalcy to ground myself with. Okay, yeah. I don't actually mind losing myself and having to create a new me, but having one forced on me pisses me off.
No real foundation, you say? How curious. Is that not itself your foundation? That is, a man who is frustrated when outdone by others?
Perhaps you're right.
Then why are you afraid of me? Those seized by anger hold neither fear nor reverence, do they not?
I'm scared of things I don't understand.
That does not seem the truth to me. I see how it is. You cannot differentiate between fear and excitement, can you? You do not like it when others control that. Am I correct? We are even now.
She took my displeased expression in silence as a yes and laughed. You can read minds.
It is a little more than a parlor trick to me.
You can also read my memories, so you know about my looping.
My, oh my. You realize it already. I expected it to keep it a secret a bit longer.
In other words, neither you nor Haru-chan experience what I do.
Well, that's a good way to look at it. Unfortunately, even I am but a jester dancing atop another god's palm.
Can you tell me about this god? The one behind it all?
I cannot.
Why?
Because I am too weak.
If you tell me, I'll turn it all around. I'll even help you regain your former glory.
Know your limits, city dweller.
I gasped at her sudden intensity.
Allow me to correct you. A powerless god is one that is of no use to mankind. Not one incapable of calamities beyond your knowing. I am powerless now, and I behave like this adorable maiden, but I used to be more feared than any. You believe you can bring that glory back? Do you believe you would honor me by burning several nearby villages and hanging all the people? Speaking on this dreary night is only meant to ease my ennui. There is nothing to be gained from it.
So this is just a diversion for her. I couldn't consider it significant. Was that what she was telling me?
This has grown dull. Keep my words in mind. May we meet again on the following evening.
She turned around, and I felt the beasts rush away. Please, wait! Why did you come to me anyway?
Oh, that is something I will gladly reveal. Essentially, this girl was concerned about you.
Haru-chan? She was?
Saishi-san was so mad. What's gotten into him? As a servant of great Lord Shinai and one who detests the mark of Yomi, she was considerate of you, her partner. Even if you do not understand this, do show care for her. She is powerless as well, so seeing her can be vexing at times.
Does Haru-chan know about you?
Maybe.
Well, I can't expect you to pass on a message to her.
I am too powerless even for that. I can try to show up in her dreams, though.
And I will tell her myself.
Mm-hmm. Farewell.
Ah, one more thing.
What?
You're a cute god.
I see, I see. You truly are as warped as you claim to be.
With those words as her last, she disappeared into the night mist. The next morning came. As I'd expected, the wolf outfit and all the blood had vanished. That didn't mean that it was all a dream, though. Takumi-san's mutilated corpse was soon discovered, shocking the whole settlement. That was when I noticed that the murder scene was full of wet footprints. They were the same as the ones left by the previous wolves, and I now understood why they were there. They'd also wore those wet costumes. They didn't even continue outside the house, though. Apparently, Great Lord Shinai took care of the costumes as well as evidence. What a methodical god. I was probably the only one who could be so clear-headed. Tai-san took this especially hard. She refused food, and instead just prayed at one edge of the dining hall. Hanzo-san was looking really wary, too. First Chiemi, now Takumi-san. He was losing people he depended on one after the other. His reaction was only natural. As you'd expect, Yasunaga-kun had gone pale once more. The person who consoled him the previous day was now gone forever, after all. And there was Kaori-san. He looked shaken, and had already broken 2 plates. Everyone assumed her state was caused by Takumi-san's death. They were close, after all, and everyone was sympathetic. I knew that she was actually just tense because she was planning to trap her sons and then kill them. But I didn't say a word, of course. Breakfast was over, and we finished washing the dishes. Kanto-san prepared to go clean up Takumi-san and... Yasu, help out. Said that, which made a chill go down my spine. I had no idea what kind of info the two would exchange if they had a secret chat. Okay. Wait, I'll go. That was why Kun's words were a big help. I'll be more useful than this empty husk. Let's go. Do what you have to, Yoshitsugu. Hag, you help the idiot get the point. Come with me, Yasunaga. It was going great. Yoshitsugu-kun returned from cleaning up, and Kanzo-san went patrolling, but Yasunaga-kun and Kaori-san still hadn't returned. A bit worried, I finished cleaning up and relaxed when... Haruaki-sama, may I have a moment? Someone called out to me. It is about Mako. Oh. That was an issue I'd nearly forgotten. A short distance from everyone here, around 10 steps away from Tai-san and her prayers, we started whispering to each other. Is she still being rebellious? Yes. Until recently, she needed my help dressing up. But now she does not. It might be a good thing, but... She ate alone too, didn't she? It was cute, though. Yes, and she always says that One-chan and Fusayuki-san should hang. A small girl basically saying that she wants to murder. What family of delinquents did she grow up with? Delinquents? Yeah, we have poorly raised children outside this village too. Oh my. Still, what's with her? I do not know. Actually, I worry that she might be the badger that Hashimoto-sama mentioned. There. She noticed it too, and she probably wasn't alone. A human that sides with the wolves. Is that why she wants to hang the humans? In Kami Fujiyoshi, people believe the wolves are good, and that the other guardians have sided with Yomi. Did someone tell her? Is that why she changed sides? Maybe. Or maybe you and I did something to get on her bad side. Nothing comes to mind. But I think we can just ignore it for now. I doubt that anything she says will affect the other participants. Can we really be so optimistic? She has a right to vote, just like everyone else in the feast. That's not really good. If you follow the rules, the only way to get rid of her is by hanging. If that saves us one of the feasts, perhaps I should... That would be good for us. Please don't. It'll be a waste of a human vote and just cruel in general. I understand. Thank you for showing mercy to her, Haruaki-sama. Rikako-san, why do you care about her so much? She's just a lost child you picked up, isn't she? Taking in children without a place to go and raising them was one of the roles of the Uematsu. Really? Yes. The Uematsu did not care much for lineage.
and actively accepted orphans, and those without a place to go as their own. I could only assume they needed more bedroom women servants to fulfill their evening duties. Rikako-san, you really value tradition, don't you? Yes. That's what kind of world I grew up in. The whole area was a separate realm built around the worship of Great Lord Shinai. From my perspective, she was very unfortunate to have been born here. But perhaps from her point of view, being a city boy without the pillars of faith and tradition to support me was far more unfortunate. I couldn't deny that a world where the way to live and die hadn't changed for centuries could be easier to live in. A well-balanced aquarium didn't need much to stay stable. It just had to continue following already established processes. However, in the real world, those systems were extremely hard to maintain. Other animals, diseases, lineages, ideals. The system was threatened by countless things. In liberated societies, however, the people had to develop a strong will, with a blend of common sense and individuality, and constantly conflict with others. Not like that couldn't crumble as a result of outside influences either, but there was no denying that it was tougher than a secluded, happy society. Open societies exchange certain happiness for the practical, universal simplicity we call money. That reasoning was probably a bit shaky. Anyway. This settlement, as well as Fujiyoshi, would eventually fall victim to our aging society. Without a single person here, Great Lord Shinai would, just like the badger or the nameless mountain god, be forgotten and vanish. The Uematsu, her included, would simply vanish faster than the rest. Thus, what I felt for her right now was merely sympathy for something facing its inevitable end. A worthless sentiment you could have about anything. None of that had happened. I'd thrown away even Chiemi. Haruaki-sama, is something troubling you? Why would you think that? You were wearing a frightening expression. Sorry. I had to keep a tight grip on my conscience. Without deciding what to do about Mako, I returned to the dining hall, where I found Yasunaga-kun and Kaori-san. Yasunaga-kun seemed a bit better than before, but only slightly. Kaori-san looked the same though, so I couldn't tell if she succeeded in getting Yasunaga-kun to not talk about Takumi-san. Let's prepare lunch, shall we? The feast will start soon. Can you wash the pot for me? Of course. I opened the metal pot I'd grown used to using, and found the piece of paper inside. Takumi didn't tell Yasunaga anything about being a snake. He simply consoled Yasunaga about Chiemi-chan's death, and talked about how they could proceed with the feast. Maintaining my poker face, I brought the pot to the sink, and filled it with water, getting the paper all wet. The fountain pen letters quickly became unreadable. I then used a scrubbing brush to quickly tear it apart, roll it into a ball, and threw it in the trash. Was Kaori-san aware just how risky that was? Anyway, that info just now was extremely important. Takumi-san hadn't told him about being a snake. What was I to make of that? The first time Takumi-san had revealed he was a snake on the very first day. Why would he be so careful now? What if he wasn't the snake? What if Yasunaga-kun lied to his mother as a precaution? Crap. Kaori-san's note didn't tell me anything about how she'd asked about it or the nuances of the reply. But this could definitely be a good time to come out as the snake. What was I to do now? I thought about that for every second of lunch. I did think I kept a normal expression on my face at least. I took far too long to decide that, regardless of circumstances, I needed to claim a role.
Let's begin today's feast. We need to hang the wolves that killed Takumi.
Prayer time was over for her. Her sadness and confusion had become hatred of the wolves. Everyone displayed approval of her words, including us wolves. We might have been the ones terrorizing them, but it wasn't hard for us to act like the powerless resistance. First of all, Yasunaga-kun said that Takumi-san's death rendered the snake's power meaningless. His tone seemed authentic, so it was hard to believe he was just hiding that we'd lost the snake. That means the only confirmed humans so far are Mochi and Hashimoto-san. With Chieni, the old man, and Takumi gone, there's only 13 of us, now, with 11 being unconfirmed. And we must choose only one to hang, huh? That is quite difficult. Pick who the snake's looking at tonight. That'll leave just 10. If we're to consider the order... Yasunaga-kun was giving me a sideways glance.
It should be you, Ni-chan. You talk a lot. So if people start to think you're suspicious.
Yeah, I imagine the old fart talk shit about you. Am I suspicious? You and the journal woman were against hanging the first day. Takumi was against it too. Even you understood why, right? I voted for the hanging. Hanzo-san began presenting his unreasonable argument. He was basically saying that just about everyone here deserved the noose. Please calm down. We still don't have enough information to decide. It's a mistake to use that vote as a basis for hanging. I was the one who suggested it, and I'm a monkey. So please control yourselves. Now, if we were to be optimistic, what's the likelihood of the old wolf person from yesterday being a wolf? 0. A certain answer from a place no one expected. Old fart was a human. Are you saying that you... Don't move. Any of you. Sharp words and a sharp sound. He stabbed a kitchen knife from the dining hall into the tummy before him. Haru-chan gasped,
while Kanzo-san made a stern face and got up. I said, don't fucking move. That means you too, old fart. Kanzo-san could have probably beaten him even with 1 or 2 stab wounds in him. He didn't do it though, probably because the hostility in Yoshitsugu-kun's voice was highly restrained. Despite his intense words, he was very calm and displayed great determination. It was a silent threat, and Kanzo-san believed it was worth listening to him. What is it? Say it! He even encouraged him to talk. I'm the crow. The old wolf guy we hanged yesterday was a human. If anyone else says they're the crow, they're faking it, and I'll kill him right now. Stop! We don't need such demonstrations! I won't stop. The feast's all about whether you believe or not, right? In that case, the ones who wins are the ones who show just how damn serious they are. Right, you wolf assholes? If you want to die, try saying you're a crow, I dare ya. I saw what he was doing here. The feast's all about whether you believe or not, right? They'd both reached the same conclusions because they weren't wrong. Due to the unreliable nature of playing the odds, the feast became, just as I thought, a game of politics rather than logic. In political scenarios, the ones who were in charge were the loudest and most emotional, not the most rational. After all, logic required energy to understand. Basically, it was a pain in the ass. The people who actually enjoyed building complex logical theories were by far in the minority. The majority disliked wasting energy on understanding them, even if they did have that capacity. There was something they all had in common. They all wanted to believe that the world was actually easy to understand, that the truth was simple, and that someone was just making it more complex than it was. The truth was that any world worked based on complicated mechanisms, and it only seemed simple because you wanted to see it that way. However, it was impossible to impress the complexity of the world upon everyone. Thus, people always left certain matters, just science or politics, to those considered to be pros. It was a sensible delegation of authority. But to earn trust, you needed to present yourself in a way that was simple, rather than complex. You needed a story that the ones who'd cast logic aside could easily swallow. Like Takumi-san back then, and Yoshitsugu-kun now, they'd realized that, so they decided to gamble on it. Discard logic, pick your methods based on feeling and preference, gamble, and win support. They'd provided the anti-logic crowd with a convenient lifeboat. It was definitely a good approach. But Yoshitsugu-kun had overlooked 2 things. Doesn't look like there's anyone. Then I guess I'm the real crow, huh? First was his own nature. He was a persuasive person even when there was no basis for it. I actually admired that. Yoshitsugu-kun was your generic edgy delinquent to the core. However, he was kind at heart, as well as passionate and naive. That much was plain for me to see. It was why everyone could believe him if he took things seriously enough. As long as he stayed honest, no one would doubt him. It was a rare and valuable talent. In a good-natured society, that is. I see. Then let's all assume he's the crow, while the old wolfman was a human. That means we have 10 other people, 3 of which are wolves. That was all that he'd earned by revealing his guardian to us wolves. Was it really worth the risk? The other thing he'd misunderstood was that this was something that couldn't be emulated. No one who tried something similar would get the same results. This was because winning via brute force was usually a bad move in this game. He was an exception. It did nothing, and he could only use it once. You should have saved that for endgame, Yoshitsugu-kun. Oh, how I wanted to say that. I wanted to put on a shit-eating grin and tell that to him. I really wanted him to understand how harsh the world really was. Thus, I had to survive. Damn it. I had to win this even more now. Ooh. Ew. I feel like there's definitely... Maybe I'm reading too much into this, but considering what Haruaki just said about himself, I feel like there's some degree of resentment towards Yoshitsugu-kun for sort of being so well self-defined. Because damn, why would you want so badly to just show him up right here and now and be more motivated to win just to present that cruel truth to him? Jesus. I respect your courage in revealing your guardian. I also have something to say. What is it? If this was Yasunaga-kun's trap, I'd fall right into it. It'd be embarrassing, but I'd just loop back and try it again. I'm the snake. That's why I couldn't look into myself. You? I can't be as intense as he was, but if there's any wolf who wants to be a fake snake, I will tear them down with facts and logic. Do we have any volunteers? No, of course not. Takumi Muro really was the snake. And that lowers the number of unknowns to 9. Yasunaga-kun didn't know that either. Oh, how I wanted to thank Takumi-san. Because of how thoroughly he kept his secret, we wolves would be saved. Is that why you suggested we investigate Takumi-ni? Yes. It was wasted, though. I see. So you basically declared who you would investigate. And if the targets are killed, you'll never increase the amount of confirmed humans. Bingo. That was why I suggested we check Takumi-san. I also wanted to see his reaction to help me figure out if he was the snake. Then who did you look into the first night? I already had an answer to that. Yasunaga Oribe-kun. He was a human. That leaves 8. And I suppose another one? That cute little girl, Meiko-chan, right? Isn't she a badger? Damn, just come right out and say it. I knew he would point that out.
Is that the one you talked about? The one that would lie?
Yes, I think the badger exists.
No, I would go.
I'm sorry that she's being like this, but I also think that, as well. If she's not talking nonsense, she insists we hang someone, which is definitely something she did not previously do. Well, I don't know what her row is, but if she has contact with the wolves... Sorry. I'm sure they told her to keep quiet. Therefore, I believe we should assume that she's a human. Definitely not a wolf, at least. If you remove her, that leaves just 7. Kanzo-san. Quit joking! Silence. The badger, that don't exist.
Kan-chan, did you forget when Gen-san talked about it?
And gone senile then! Not worth believing! But the idea that she'd just be quiet if she was a wolf is unbelievable. Not at all. The wolves could just be using her as a sacrifice to hide themselves. Hey, Yasu's really human, huh, Snake? Yes. No doubt about it. Then he's too soft. No, I just... You said we shouldn't hang even when Chi died! Oh. So you don't trust me? The mood changed. Yasunaga-kun was as stern as he'd been when he was a wolf. Wanna shut him up? Not yet. Man, Yasun's mad. I'd really like to go now.
Ni-chan, stop! You're scaring me. You too, Oji-chan.
Musaishi-san, we considered investigating me before, but that's meaningless now, right? Yeah, it's already done. Ooh, then investigate Haru-chan next.
Me? You'll do that?
Yes, once that's done, you'll be safe. I didn't mind that. Now that I'd taken the role of a snake, I could lie as much as I wanted. But why do you suggest it now? Quit messing around! Naturally, Kanzo-san snapped. Investigate me! I'm a human! The young'un said I'm more important here. I also believe that it's best to investigate the most influential participants. You've shown your true colors. What? You want to flaunt your importance in the feast instead of ensuring your own granddaughter's safety. I get it. She's dead, so you want to have Haru now, huh? What did you say? I don't think of Haru-chan that way. Yasunaga-kun was able to finish his sentence. Because Kanzo-san's fist didn't reach him. Yoshitsugu-kun had jumped in at just the right time to take it to his stomach. You scum! Shut it! He then sunk his left fist into Yoshitsugu-kun's cheek. The teen fell to the ground. The kitchen knife from before was still in the tatami a few feet in front of him. Uh-oh. Kanzo-san had already noticed it, so he beat Yoshitsugu-kun to the punch and grabbed the handle. Then prepared to... Koji-chan, stop! Everyone was looking at Kanzo-san right now. Cold stares. Fearful eyes. Judgmental glares. Yasunaga-kun's trap wasn't that special. Like he said, it was worth investigating Kanzo-san and confirming his humanity at this point. However, since he was so rough about it, Kanzo-san had gone and treated Haru-chan as Yasunaga-kun's woman, rather than his dear granddaughter. That was when he had to retract his statement and stop himself. There were many ways he could have gone about this, like saying that letting Haru-chan be investigated could get her killed, like Takumi-san last night. Or he could have said he'd made a mistake, that Haru-chan was more important and let her have the turn. He would have still had everyone's respect then. He could have still been the backbone of the village. But now he'd turned violent and pointed a blade at the defenseless brothers. Right now, he was just a threat to everyone. Upon coming back to his senses, he seemed to have realized that he crossed a line he could never come back from. The crude old man was at a loss for words. Excuses, manipulation, rationalization, all of these concepts were foreign to a character as stoic as he was. A man of few words had little he could say after such a catastrophic blunder. However, out of all the words he could have chosen, me, I certainly didn't expect those.
Oji-chan.
I've lost my edge. Yasu's right. I forgot what mattered and pointed a blade at a human. No one will listen to me now, and that's fine. I gotta be gone.
But... No, I'll be all alone then.
Haru, that ain't true. Yasumisu's your family. It's what they think, too. Yasu. Yes. You can defeat the wolves, right? I must. You too, Yoshi. Damn fucking right. Oribe, you got some good sons. I only... let us calm down for a second. This is a bit too chaotic. Shut it, outsider. But... this is our problem. Oh dear.
Kan-chan, isn't it too early?
Elders should die first. Taiba, you better prepare too.
Oji-chan!
Stay strong, Haru. Oh man. Were these people brain dead? This wasn't the time or place for this. Personal vendettas, liver spats, brotherly union, maturity, generation gaps. This wasn't a situation where you could waste time on something like that, was it? Hanzo-san was human, no matter how you put it. Sure, he'd sown some discord, but they had to make an effort to fix that. I didn't mind if they got rid of someone who'd made an unnecessary scene, but their decision should have been more calculated and less emotional. Those who weren't part of their circle just didn't know how to react. Hashimoto-san showed some serious courage trying to intervene. However, he'd estimated how cold Yasumisu could be towards outsiders. I knew that well thanks to Chiemi. Well, not like I objected to this outcome. If these people were going to accept his death and find unity in madness, I'd just play along. I wasn't looking down on them. I just thought they were brain dead, but I had to take that back. Madness was a fearsome foe to face. I'd let myself revel in victory once I actually won. And I would definitely emerge victorious. Thanks to my looping, I had all the attempts I needed and then some.
Don't become...
Why'd her face just come back to my head? It had nothing to do with this turn of events, right? Not even the last time. What was I not supposed to become? Takumi-san and Chamie were gone now. Thus, the task of tying up, dragging, and hanging Kanzo-san had transferred to the Oribe brothers. The elder brother led, while the younger one dragged. Everyone else followed after them, singing a sadistic version of Prayer to Shanai. Though perplexed, the journals joined in too, and they looked a lot like I had back then. By this point, the feeling that the villagers were crazy had dulled, and I was starting to believe that I was the anomaly here. The term peer pressure came to mind. It was certainly a way to use peer pressure to erode people's aversion to murder and reduce them to marionettes. But imposing such meaningless, repetitive rituals on a group of people enough times would eventually be viewed as commonplace events. It had been done many times throughout history, in wars, prisoner of war camps, cultist sects, and the feast. No, Yasumiso as a whole was a prime example of that. The local culture was deeply ingrained in their mind. Anyone living here would eventually start to question their own way of life. Huh. So the story I created wasn't far off the mark. Anyone living near a hellish place long enough would themselves become inhabitants of hell. If you looked at it that way, I might have become a resident of hell myself. Now, what did the great lord of the local hell, Shinai-sama, want out of something so needlessly profound? I still didn't know. In fact, I wasn't sure if the god himself knew what he wanted out of this. Just a thought. An eternal dance of murder and concealment, shrouded in the densest mists.
Oji-chan.
I already said goodbye. I leave the rest to you. Rise not.
Oji-chan!
Rise not. The brothers extended their hands, and the rugged old man's body fell down. In a moment, the rope went taut. I heard a sound akin to a frog's croak from down below. Yeah, I was just gonna say, feeling a serious shit that all of this came about just because of the lies Haruaki told. The seeds of malice I'd planted had grown and bloomed. I wanted him to live a bit longer and play the role of the antagonistic, hateful old fart. But oh well. Deciding to kill him would probably haunt Yasunaga-kun until he died. As someone with a strong sense of justice, he would either eventually self-destruct or struggle to find some internal justification for it. No. We'd promised Kaori-san that we would kill him soon. Whatever the case, there was no problem for us. For now. I just had to be wary of some surprise attacks from the rest. Hope that the last of the Uematsu, Rikako-san, didn't have any other secrets. And think of how to deal with these two. Hashimoto-san wasn't shaken by the lynching, and as we returned, our eyes met. I had no idea what he was thinking. His expression and eyes both were unreadable to me. He, on the other hand, clearly read something about me. That wasn't fair. First Yoshitsugu-kun, now Hashimoto-san. Their goddamn superpowers were just unfair. They were the reason why I, a normal talentless individual who didn't stand out in any way, had to take such drastic measures. I couldn't tell if he actually suspected me, but was just slightly uneasy. I felt like I was doing a good job, but since I was now at the forefront, it was more likely that I would be targeted. What would he do next? I was actually kind of excited for tomorrow's feast. After the feast, everyone gathered in the dining hall. With barely any words, we ate a simple dinner and went on our own ways. Akumi-san and Kanzo-san were gone now, so we didn't even have anyone say that it was time to go back. However, it was hard to believe they would just collapse. Hashimoto-san would plan and decide what to do tomorrow, and the Oribe brothers would do something too. I could only imagine what they were thinking of in the window between sheltering and dreaming. Thus began our third secret meeting. I'm going to go and quickly refill my tea.
Xerox. There's the guy with superpowers. You're so right. The strongest superpower of all, in fact.
Thus began, thank you very much, our third meeting. We would tear their fragile plans to shreds. Now then, let's fulfill the promise. Her voice was calm, but stern. Let's give one of your sons their rest. Certainly. Which one are we going for? Mii-chan? Yoshi-kun? They sure were excited about this. It still pissed me off. Don't become... As did Chami's face, which often flashed before my eyes recently. Before we do that, can't you too suffer a bit more? I made a smile and asked that. Suffer? I mean, this is difficult for you, right? You're about to send a son back to Yomi. It's a tragedy, isn't it? Haru-chan, you just sat there and watched as your own grandfather was hanged today. That's madness. A terrible way for a human to act. I've done many terrible things since I was born and granted this power. I think people to where they truly belong carries with it a lot of sympathy, empathy, and guilt. Ugh. This lie was such a pain at this point. I didn't even have a reason to keep telling it anymore. If we act normal while doing this kind of thing, we won't be in the right anymore.
Do you think we're not suffering?
Oh? You are? Of course. It's a bother to cry at this point, but we simply do our best to be insane.
And I just don't want to cause you trouble. Unlike you, we can't keep up with you unless we go insane.
But people normally don't know how to go insane. Also, Haru-chan, don't act like this is my fault. Kaori-san will die after she kills her sons, but you won't, right? You need to survive and bear the sin.
I can die too, can I?
Yes, she can, can't she? I raised my leg and kicked over the bucket. Oh my. I've had enough of this nonsense! Then why not get this over with?
Yeah, like we should.
So this is one of those situations where I feel like killing Yoshitsugu-kun is probably the path forward, since it'd be good to get rid of the crow. I usually just go down the line. I guess if it does take us pretty far down, we can always just jump back. It's no big deal. I usually like to try and go for what I feel is the wrong answer first. We would kill Yoshitsugu, Oribe. Killing the crow was a very logical move for the wolves. Even if Kanzo-san were alive, I didn't think anyone could imagine Kaori-san was a wolf actively killing her sons. Still, it was important we had a consistent story. Are you okay with going for Yoshitsugu-kun? Yoshitsugu. Oh, Yoshitsugu. Alright. I can finally put him to rest. Of course, this could also be some sort of trap, but we'll see. I was getting pissed off again. Was it because I was twisted in playing the part of the villain, yet the two of them were supposed to be acting like they were the good guys? Kaori-san. Yes. Please kill him yourself. Otherwise, the story wouldn't make sense. If the murder was done out of motherly love, the crime needed to reflect that ideology. Because there was no way she could do it. And then she would suffer. Suffer. Alright. You shouldn't be alright with it.
I'll do it too. I let you do the whole thing yesterday.
Be thorough. Don't leave a semblance of his original shape behind.
Why?
So we don't leave any traces behind. If it's done after the killing blow, he won't suffer.
I see. Alright then.
Are you good with that too, Kaori-san? Yes.
Don't become... Suffer. His room was just to the rear of the dining hall. It was a small room used for stories that he started sleeping in since 2 years back. I was always concerned since Yasunaga moved into the dorm. It's sad, isn't it? How boys can't always live together. Like I cared. Go ahead. I handed her a grass sickle laying nearby. Do your best, please. I finally calmed down after watching Kaori-san wail as she chopped up her son. In the end, Haru-chan just mostly watched blankly from the sidelines the whole time. By the time we had to carry Kaori-san back to the dining hall once she'd collapsed from exhaustion, my irritation had faded. Haru-chan took care of undressing her. It would have been hard to redress her, but it seemed she just removed the outfit and put her to bed. You've gone completely mad, haven't you, city dweller? I'm not going mad. And how could you corner Kaori-san like that? With a faint smile. Because I was relieved. Huh? Generally, I live in accordance with the local common sense and sense of morality. So when those go mad, I have to go mad too. I was relieved that a part of Kaori-san didn't want to kill her son. Seeing her cry was a load off my chest. If she hadn't shown a single sign of remorse, I might have snapped and killed her. That is what is defined as going mad. Why is that? It's unfair for the one who went mad first to not take any responsibility. Oh, man. Splendid. I still cannot comprehend your abnormality. That is what attracts me to you. I think I'll make an exception and turn you down. Oh, what a cold answer. And why? Oh, ZD. Oh, I hope you're feeling better. There has been some pretty juicy developments. But don't worry, the VOD will be waiting for you. Because you're... No, never mind. Reluctant to part, are you? Shut up. Just now, I felt like I was on the verge of realizing what God was. But that sensation vanished like mist, and I returned to the prefab, with dissatisfaction lingering in my heart. I must have been really tired. I awoke to the sound of someone knocking on the door. They were making quite a racket. I opened my eyes and looked out the window to see... Haru-chan. Wake up! Fusaishi, wake up! I quickly got up when I realized something wasn't right. What's wrong? Kaori-san's lost it! It was dangerous to talk about that sort of thing during the day. I looked around outside in a hurry, but couldn't tell if anyone else was there in the mist. Still, I invited her in and locked the door so we could continue. What happened? The first thing Kaori-san did when she got up was... She... Bellhound, she's only lost it now? The
first thing Kaori-san did when she got up was... Ni-chan! It was then I finally noticed Haru-chan's breathing was ragged. There were tear stains on her cheeks. Calm down. There was so much blood! Sorry. Why are you apologizing? Because I'm the one who pushed Kaori-san that far. But in the end, we killed everyone together. You don't have to think it's right. I can't do that. Now wasn't the time to persuade her. I left her behind the prefab and went outside. I armed myself with a stick to be safe and headed for the plaza. But by the time I got there, everything had been resolved. The dining hall was a sea of blood. In the midst of it was a blood-stained corpse that apparently belonged to Yasunaga-kun. Behind the counter, I saw the adults, or rather Hashimoto-san, pinning Kaori-san down. Hashimoto-san leaned on Kaori-san, leaving her gasping for air and moaning in agony. She must have been hurt. Saishi-san, could you bring some rope and help me tie her up? I couldn't believe he still had a poker face on in times like these. The spurt of blood on his chest only accentuated the oddity of it all. Not that I was in any position to say anything about it. Alright, Rikako-san. Oh, this way. I took Rikako-san out of the ring of people surrounding Kaori-san and got what we needed. Kaori-san screamed and raged after being bound, but in the end could do nothing as we locked her up in the dining hall. Though all were present after I brought Haru-chan back, the oppressive atmosphere didn't fade. Are you okay, Haru-chan? Did Hassan do anything to you? Of course not. Don't talk to me. Haru-chan. First she'd lost her grandfather, and now the boy who'd been like an older brother to her. There was nothing that could possibly cheer Haru-chan up. Still, we had to do the feast, as well as decide how to handle Kaori-san before that. With Kanzo-san, Takumi-san, and Yasunaga-kun gone, Inosuke-shi, Hashimoto-san, and I ended up with the biggest influence out of necessity. I was a little surprised that the two of them had agreed not to torture Kaori-san from the start. Maybe I was the one messed up for finding that surprising, but the both of them were avoiding tormenting a fellow villager. Thus, I played along with them, knowing it'd give me an advantage. On the other hand, there was the matter of how to deal with Kaori-san. While the people of Yasumizu were calling to hang her immediately, Hashimoto-san and Mamiya-san had different ideas. She broke the laws, yes? That means she will automatically be punished later, right? Leaving someone so terrifying is definitely scary, but let's think calmly about this. We've lost the crow and another human on top of that. We can't get them back. There are 10 of us here, and Kanzo-san didn't seem like a wolf, meaning there are almost certainly 3 wolves left. If that girl, the badger, has turned to the wolf side, that means they have 4 votes. We humans still have the majority with 6 votes. Are you trying to say that gives us breathing room? If we hang the wrong person today, you only have 4 votes against 3. I think it would be better to hang Madame Oribe and create a situation where we have 5 votes against 3, don't you? Only the monkeys and the snake have revealed themselves right now. Speaking of which, what were the results of your investigation, Fusaichi-kun? Seems like Haru-chan's a human. That makes 4. And if Mako is the badger and Kaori Oribe was a wolf, that means 2 of the remaining 4 are wolves. Isn't it more important to get rid of one confirmed wolf when an imbalance exists over betting on a 50-50 chance? Logically speaking, he was right. If the snake continued investigating with the spider protecting them, there would be no more unconfirmed people before long. If the humans could kill a confirmed wolf, they have more than half the votes over the wolves and would gain plenty of time until they could secure their victory. However, I don't know the details since I wasn't there, but is Kaori-san really a wolf? Maybe she simply lost it after seeing the horrible state of Yoshisugu-kun's body and ended up killing Yasunaga-kun as a result. No, she said it herself. She said she'd received the blessing of the Yomotsu Kami-sama, the true guardians. And that we were all Yomibita and thus she'd grant us salvation, that she saved her son through death. Tai-san's eyes shifted towards the pool of blood. So Kaori-san had confessed everything. What a handful of a teammate she turned out to be. That story doesn't sound right, does it? I've heard that version of the story apparently exists in Kami Fujiyoshi, but... Anyway, all we got to do is decide who to hang in the feast. All we can do is leave Kaori-san behind. I see. I agree. What about the rest of you? No one objected. Then let's take this to the hall. Oh, Kyunosuke no Sato-san. What is it? You laid out your idea just now, but if we found the wolf, it would be a different story. I had a bad feeling about this. Everyone had a drink. Let's begin the feast. Hashimoto-shi, I would like you to explain what you were implying. I've been doing some thinking. There are 2 wolves amongst us, yes? Shikamuchi Kamoshida and I are monkeys. Fusaichi-kun is the snake. And Haru Makishima-san is a human. Also, Mako is likely the badger. No, I'm not! Let that lady go! Man, it must be tough being a wolf. You think so? She's a little girl, so many would be reluctant to lynch her. To the wolves, she's a vote that's hard to lose. Well, I have no intention of killing her myself. If the humans win, she shouldn't have to die. That aside... Oh, excuse me. Anyway, the ones here who haven't been confirmed yet are Yamawaki-san, Nosato-san, Uematsu-san, and Kyu-chan. One of those 4 is a wolf. On paper, anyway. At this point, I tried thinking like a wolf. And I noticed something was off. Well, don't keep us in suspense. Tell us. I wasn't trying to keep you in suspense. Honestly, what I consider off is nothing more than an impression of mine. And when you suspect someone, you become cautious. With that said, I took what Oribe-san said into serious consideration, and it appears her killing was well-intentioned. Preposterous! Is it now? I was going to say the same goes for all of us after that. How? The wolves are the leaders of the Yomibito, and they kill humans wielding corruption and grudges. Oh no, that's not what I meant. I was referring to the execution we all call hanging. It's believed that hanging someone brings them salvation, right? That it's better than being killed by the wolves. Well, yes. The wolves are the same in how they also justify their own killings as being for the supposed good of others. An outsider would never understand. Hey, Hashimoto-san, that was originally my role. Are you sure about this? My apologies. Anyway, Kaori Oribe-san acted under the belief that she wanted to kill her son quickly for his own good. Thus, the desire to kill her sons must have been the first thing to have popped into her head, naturally. And yet, she put herself at risk to kill Yasunaga-kun instead of waiting for night. Isn't that strange? Why wasn't Yasunaga-kun the first victim then? Serisawa was the first to die, but it was Mudo who was the first to die at the hands of the wolves. Yes, that's right, Takumi. Yes, that's right. Takumi Mudo-san. Oh, Takumi. Why? Is it that strange? He was always at the heart of discussion, so the wolves tried to sabotage that. That's also true, but my claim was that Oribe-san likely wanted to kill her sons. If so, I think it would have made a lot of sense for the wolves to have killed Yasunaga-kun. He had a point. If we killed Yasunaga-kun, there was a good chance of us throwing the feast into emotional and conservative chaos. Which meant that Hashimoto-san's argument was, why was it that the wolves would go so far as to reject Oribe-san's opinion to target Muro-san instead? Maybe Kaori-san wasn't that hung up on killing him at that point? True, that's not out of the question. But there's a more likely possibility. After Serisawa-san stole her chance on the first day, and she was denied on the second day, Oribe-san felt driven into a corner and went berserk. Shit. How'd he know? Why do you think that's more likely? She said she was a wolf. The point is that she didn't have a problem with that. But she admitted it herself, right? Had she caused that commotion with the approval of the other wolves, I don't think she would have ever said that. Curiously enough, I think Fusaishi-san had it right. She could say it because she simply lost her mind and gone on a rampage. Were she simply feigning madness, I think we'd be worrying about it more right now. I see. So what you're saying is that everything went according to plan for the wolves up until Muro-san's death, but Kaori Oribe-san didn't approve. Which is why she caused this commotion, right? Where are you getting at with this? In other words, the wolves insisted on killing Budo-san, And though they had restrained Oribe-san until yesterday, they lost control of her today. Those wolves are supposedly amongst those four, but honestly, that just doesn't sound right. I'm sorry, that could be interpreted as me saying none of you look like you have the power to lead. But first of all, let's start with the lady. She's an elegant woman who I can't see going out of her way to reject Oribe-san's somewhat valid proposal. Yamawaki-san is an elder, so she may have held more power than Oribe-san. But would she really use that to force her to kill Takumi-san first?
I would never do such a thing.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. You wouldn't, would you? That's sophistry. So long as Kaori-san was fixated on killing her beloved son quickly, it wouldn't be strange if things turned out the same way.
What's gotten into you?
This guy's trying to cast doubt on me. Would you keep quiet, Fusashi-kun? Damn. The most polite, shut the fuck up. I had to stop him. I had to stop him from swaying everyone's hearts. As for Nosato-san, you do not appear to be well liked by the people of Yasumisu, so I don't think you could have cooperated with Oribe-san that well. Now you're making assumptions. Kaori-san always tried to maintain harmony, so maybe she just went along with Kyonosuke-san's decision the first time. I can't say I liked hearing some of that, but I suppose you're right. Besides, I would have probably agreed to prioritizing eliminating Yasunaga-kun over Moodle. As for Kiyu-chan, this basically goes without saying, but I don't think any of you would listen to what an outsider like her wanted. Well, you're right there. Besides, I don't have the makings of a leader in me. This means that the leader of the wolves isn't one of them. How bizarre. So maybe someone we assumed to be a confirmed human was lying all along. Impossible. So that would have to mean the one who claimed they were the snake is actually a wolf. That's a lively imagination. No delusion you've got there. Haven't you noticed, Fusashi-kun? You've barely said a word today. And when you did, it was only to attack my arguments. Isn't it natural to fight back against someone trying to frame you?
Hey, stop it! You say all that, but you seem quite irritated yourself. You're acting strange, too.
Unfortunately, no matter how strange I may seem, I'm not a wolf. I'm a monkey. And yes, I am irritated. Well, I can't say I agree with people killing each other. Given the special environment they were born into, I could at least understand it to some degree. Uh-oh, Papa angry. But an outsider who sneaks into the village and takes advantage of the circumstances to commit crafty murders is truly revolting. Like I said, those are your own delusions. You've based this on the whole insane premise that I'm some sly brute. Besides, didn't you say it yourself? An outsider can't lead the wolves. I don't know if you're partners or lovers or whatever, but those are some pretty ballsy double standards you have to protect Mamiya-san, yet accuse me. Excuse me, I can't let that one pass. Are you messing around? Well, he may not be wrong. No, there's nothing going on between Hashimoto-san and I. Good. It was a huge risk, but now I'd cast doubt on Hashimoto-san's side. Now I just have to press some more and... You're not an outsider anymore. You have been welcomed as a member of this village. And I'd say that was a fairly sly act on your part. You forced your way into joining the village and gained the minimum amount of trust. Was it all planned? Plus, if you had the guts and silver tongue to declare yourself a snake, you could have also cajoled Oribe-san, couldn't you? Though it seems you couldn't talk your way out of this one. Oh, is that what they call a lack of trust? My condolences. I'm sure you realized at some point that Takumi-san was probably the snake and decided to kill him. Who even are you to begin with? Why did you make your way to this settlement? Do you already know about all this? His verbal assault was entirely based on speculation, but it was a well-crafted story. Like I said, those are nothing but speculations. Of course it was, but it was the story I'd actually put together. His deductions just happened to be right on the money, that was all. Then what if I said something that wasn't a speculation? If you've got something, by all means go for it. How did you know? Huh? Maybe you figured out last night's victim was Yoshitsugu-kun. Well, was Yoshitsugu Oribe-kun through process of elimination. But how did you know the state of his body? Maybe you didn't know, but his body was cleaned up long before you woke up. I don't know the details since I wasn't there, but is Kaori-san really a wolf? Maybe she simply lost it after seeing the horrible state of Yoshitsugu-kun's body and ended up killing Yasunaga-kun as a result. I said something a wolf couldn't have known. What do you mean? Yes, all you can do is play dumb, right? Seriously, I don't know what you mean. Those delusions are... It's not up to you or I to decide if it's delusion or a convincing hypothesis. Just then, everyone stared daggers at me. Let's vote, shall we? I'd been completely defeated. Still, I'm not a wolf. Naturally, everyone voted to hang me. Haru-chan voted for me too, as she was right to. Leaving off the lizard's tail was a good choice. She didn't need words to cover for me with. At any rate, 2 wolves have been eliminated in the same day. This was all Kaori Oribe's fault. Was that the way I should think? Or should I think that I handled her the wrong way? Seriously, was there a way for the wolves to achieve victory here? Was there a way to step over that brilliant cameraman's corpse and press onwards? I felt like I was playing a troll game designed to be impossible to win. I continued to lament the absurdity of my situation until the very moment my consciousness sunk into the mist. You know, I thought that if I were wrong, it would be because there was some elaborate trick that had been laid out, not that Walkie would run his mouth. Oh. I'm guessing if we go back that maybe if we kill Yasunaga-kun, Kaori won't say anything, but we'll see. We will kill Yasunaga Oribe. If we let Yoshitsugu-kun, the crow, live, they would find out that Kanzo-san was a human, but everyone already knew that. The crow would live another day. During the charade at noon, Yasunaga-kun inherited Kanzo-san's will. His death would be more distasteful and tragic than anyone else's. The blind people here wanted a leader, and this would shock them immensely. I had no idea how good of a leader he would be, but it would be bad for us if he was actually good. I mean, we've seen him in action before. Can we kill Yasunaga-kun? Certainly. I guess this is a goodbye to Nii-chan. Derek says maybe we need both endings for a key and there's no change. That's definitely a possibility. So I was about to say that maybe she wouldn't say as much, but like the reason I didn't really expect her to say anything is because I mean she loves her sons equally, right? That was a big point of contention between the two brothers, feeling that she loved the other more when she cared for both of them equally and just kind of approached them in different ways because of their personalities. So she should feel distraught and fucked up no matter which one we kill at night. She's still gonna kill the other and probably let all that information go. There's something I want to ask you two. Yes? Kill him yourselves this time. Because you overdid it yesterday? I don't want you stabbing my back while I'm doing the job. I wouldn't do that. Liar. But I understand. Very well. Be thorough about it. What do you mean? We need to make sure we don't leave any evidence and he doesn't leave any messages. He won't feel the pain once he's dead anyway. Alright. Don't become... suffer. I filled the bucket with water again, and we went into the mist. The water from the faucet repelled the corruption just fine. Though it was from a well, so maybe it didn't count as tap water. Haru-chan went in front, and Kaori-san was right behind her. Haru-chan was waving around a flashlight. I see you like that a lot, Haru-chan. Who cared about that? We headed for the dorm. Not long after we arrived, this reminded me of the first night when we tried to kill him, and Chamie got in our way. This time, it was something else. What's the problem? Hurry up and open it. It's not opening. Let me try. Oh. Is he being defended by the spider? What about the other rooms? I tried touching the cheap-looking metallic knob, too. I didn't feel anything unlock, and I couldn't open it either. We then went around all the houses that had living people in them, but none of the doors opened. After a moment of thought, I reached a conclusion. The spider got the better of us. So the spider protected Nii-chan's door and prevented it from unlocking when we tried to open it? Oh no. No, we should have expected this. Anyone living in Yasumizu would know that he's in the most important position right now. Of course they would protect him. What do? We have no choice but to accept it. It's a night wasted for us. Kaori-san can't kill his son, and the spider will know that we targeted Yasunaga-kun.
Is that a big deal?
No, not really. In fact, this gives us some info. The spider was from Yasumisu. If Mamiya was the spider, she would have protected either Hashimoto-san, me, or Yoshitsugu-kun. The only locals whose roles we don't know are Tai-san, Kyonosuke-shi, and Rikako-san. Yasunaga-kun couldn't have been the spider since they couldn't protect themselves. Meiko-chan couldn't be it either. If she was the spider, Rikako-san would control her like last time. She was clearly the badger. That meant that one of those three was the spider. It wasn't completely unlikely that it was Kyonosuke-shi, but I couldn't imagine him making the choice. He'd probably protect Rikako-san every single day. In order of likelihood from highest to lowest, it was probably Rikako-san, then Tai-san, then Kyonosuke-shi. Worse than that. Tomorrow. Oh, I get to kill them tomorrow. This woman had abandoned all hope to keep her mind intact. That now came back around to undermine her sanity if she didn't get to kill her sons. Hello, dear. Welcome to the stream. Aw. Thank you for coming on by. And it looked like the situation where she couldn't let her have the kills she was promised would continue. Oh man. I wanted to reset. Right now, actually. Maybe I could just walk off the cliff and... Oh, sorry. That was imprudent. Usaishi-san, you really are insane, aren't you? Me? Insane? Hey, that's not fair. You're the ones who went insane first. I told the others to, if they were in danger of getting hanged, pretend to be the crow, avoiding the spider at all costs. The spider wasn't an option. Taming the spider meant death on the next or the following night, and if that didn't happen, it would mean that the spider was a fake. With Yoshitsugu-kun's reveal, pretending to be a crow became a lot harder, but it was still safer than pretending to be a spider. Yasunaga-kun and Hashimoto-san would also find it suspicious that a spider reveal even happened in the first place, so that was another reason. Though I would follow Yasunaga-kun's idea and tell everyone that my snake power said that Haru-chan was a human, so she wouldn't be suspected. I was in way more danger in that regard. Also, I would see how the votes worked, and if possible, hang Rikako-san. However, our votes would go different ways. We couldn't force it. Tomorrow's vote would be on hanging one of the 6 unconfirmed humans. Tai-san, Kaori-san, Kyonosuke-shi, Rikako-san, Meiko, Mamiya-san. I would try to make sure it wasn't Kaori-san. After I provided that course of action, we went our own ways. We said goodbye to Kaori-san, and we went uphill. Ooh! Haru-chan. What? I was the one who started the conversation. That was a loss for me. Am I insane?
Maybe. I don't really know you.
Well, maybe I don't understand how you can brutally kill a man, then talk about morals. She had a point. Another loss for me. God.
What is it, city dweller?
Am I insane?
When you first came here, were you the kind of person who would think, I want to die to restart? Well, I certainly would not call you a good person.
That wasn't fair. Third loss. It's all Yasumisu's fault.
Well, sorry. I'll still live and die here, though.
This is hard.
What is?
Nothing. Hey.
What?
Did you really not feel anything about Kanzo-san?
Of course I did.
Same for the Oribes and Mochi.
I don't want to kill anyone.
Then why are you acting all normal?
Because it's the right way to act?
Right. Right?
I'm not corrupted. I'm not insane. I'm not. It's Fujiyoshi that's messed up. It's God that's messed up.
Is God some state of being? Crazy. Right. State of being.
Have you realized something, city dweller?
No. If that were the case, I could understand it, but... No. Even then, some things wouldn't make sense. No. That wasn't right either. It wasn't that I couldn't understand. It was just... so absurd. And way too hopeless. But... I wanted to tear off all these masks and examine to my heart's content. There was no more terrifying or thrilling moment than the one when you were about to expose the ugly face of the unknown. And apparently the role of a wolf wasn't fit for this. The wolves were way too... right. Basically, I had to change my line of thinking. Haru-chan, here's an idea. I turned back to the small wolf.
What?
All right, it was Haru-chan. We should give our all to be villains.
Villains?
Yeah, the bad guys. She tilted her head in confusion. We're bad guys who kill people. We're bad guys who betray their own. We're bad guys who do what we want. It would all be because we're evil, not because we're right. Evil is free from all forms of justice.
Villains... evil... Are you sure it's good to be like that?
No, it isn't good, of course. But you know something? If they set their minds to it, humans aren't animals that can do bad things.
Killing is bad?
Of course. It's evil.
And killing friends, family, and good people?
Even worse. It's pure evil.
Why?
Reasons why we shouldn't murder. It was perhaps the hardest topic in morality. However, when you thought about it, it wasn't too difficult to find a logical answer to that too. You simply ignored the concept of good and evil. If ignoring such ideas was an integral part of evil, then I would teach her, and through it pose her a question about how flexible she really was. It inconveniences both mind and body.
I don't understand.
If you do something people don't want, they will start not wanting you either. That binds your mind and heart more tightly than you'd think. Speaking from experience? People who do things others really don't want might even find their bodies bound too. Bound, inconvenient people can't live in peace, or die in peace. Most humans are forced to live well and be good. And that's because they all want to live and die in peace. If people begin binding others, the chains grow to encompass more and more people. So people grow up being told to live well to avoid that. But get this. If you give up on all that, if you inconvenience everyone as well as yourself and prepare to have a discomforting end, you can do bad things.
Hey, does everyone outside of here learn that?
Nope, I just thought of it myself.
That's mean.
But I think I'm surprisingly correct. If you agree, I'll join you. Let's be as villainous as we can be.
I like the Western movies they show on TV.
Really? What do you like?
The one with the Force.
She really did love that series, huh? What character do you like?
The golden one.
Was that why she liked androids? Did I remind her of him?
When you watch a movie like that, you normally support the side of justice, right? Saying this is kind of embarrassing, but sometimes I think about how great it'd be if some handsome knight came to save me.
That's a perfectly fine way to enjoy something.
I never thought about becoming a bad guy.
There's lots of movies with bad guy protagonists.
Really?
Yeah.
Can a bad guy cry?
Of course. And she began to intensely cry. I spread my arms out. She plunged into my chest with surprisingly little hesitation.
Oh, Ji-chan!
I embraced her damp body and looked up at the sky. It was evil to grieve about parting ways with Yomibito, huh? Oh. Then perhaps she, no, everyone here, wasn't actually insane. Well, I was an exception. We then walked around Yasumisu, barely saying a word. Then we reached a fork in the path. One led to the dorm, the other to the construction site.
Here.
Yeah. What?
What should I call you?
A new name for a new relationship. I had a good idea for this. Just Haruaki is fine.
Haruaki-ni-chan?
No honorifics. Just Haruaki. Partners in evil are equal.
That's a bit hard for me.
It's only between us, though. Don't even use it in front of Kaori-san.
Not even Kaori-san?
I mean, she's a good person.
Yeah. You're right. We'll kill her because we're evil, right?
Exactly.
Alright. Haruaki.
Yeah, Haru-chan.
Why do you get to call me with a chan? That's not fair.
It's in my nature to want to call cute girls with a chan.
I'm cute.
Becoming evil made you at least 60% more cute.
I guess I'm fine with it then.
She extended her hand to me. I grasped it tightly. We would no longer be wolves of justice, but wolves of evil.
Good night, Haruaki.
Good night. I turned around.
I hope you sleep well, city dweller.
No, villain. A cold voice. Say God. Just what is a god?
Do not act like you don't know.
Well, I do not mind this too much.
The intensity is not unpleasant. You're the sort that enjoys playing with fire, aren't you?
I walked off as if to get away from the laugh, which sounded strangely infuriated. I just remembered that the protagonist of that movie was actually the princess's brother. Wait. But then I took a turn where the princess got together with a wandering rogue. Maybe it was safer to let her call me Nichan. And with that, we will wrap up the stream right here. Oh, that one was an intense one. But I am so glad that we finally got some very nice insight into Haruaki, and I am delighted by what we have found out. He's definitely one of the more interesting protagonists that I have played in one of these games. But yes, let's see. We will be continuing this on Sunday at 8 p.m. EST. Till then, Thursday on the server, we are doing the Star Trek watch along at 9 p.m. EST. And on Saturday at 9 p.m. EST, it is Animorphs. Thank you all so very much for coming on by. I hope you have a wonderful time zone wherever you are, and as always, please do take care of yourselves and each other. Toodaloo-hoo!